Elements we shall be considering today are temperature and wind. First and foremost, we shall begin by looking at what temperature is and the instrument used for measuring temperature. What then is temperature? Temperature can be defined as the degree of hotness or coldness of a place. It is usually measured with an instrument called the thermometer. Now, thermometers are usually kept in a Stevenson screen. What then is this Stevenson screen? We shall attempt a description of the Stevenson screen. Now, the Stevenson screen is simply a wooden box with louvers to allow the free circulation of air into it. It is usually painted white to prevent it from absorbing excess radiation from the sun. Now, this box is raised to about 1.2 meters above the ground. It carries the maximum and the minimum thermometer, the wet and the dry bulb thermometer. Now we shall see how temperature can be measured. Now, before we look at how temperature can be measured, let's briefly look at what a thermometer is. A thermometer is simply a narrow glass tube which is filled with mercury or alcohol with a metal index inside that responds to any change in temperature. Now, thermometers are of various kinds. We have what we call the 6 thermometer. Now, the 6 thermometer consists of the maximum thermometer and the minimum thermometer. The maximum thermometer records the highest temperature in a day, while the minimum thermometer records the lowest temperature in a day. The 6th thermometer was named after James VI, who invented it in the 18th century. Normally, when the temperature is high, the substance inside the glass tube will expand and a higher reading will be obtained. But when the temperature is low, the substance inside the glass tube will contract and a lower reading is obtained. Temperature is recorded in degrees centigrade or degrees Fahrenheit. We shall look at some simple calculations of temperature. Now, the first one we shall look at is temperature range. Now, how do we calculate temperature range? Temperature range is calculated by simply subtracting the lowest temperature reached in a day from the highest temperature reached in a day. Now, the difference becomes the temperature range. The second one is the mean daily temperature. This one can also be calculated by adding the highest temperature plus the lowest temperature reached in a day divided by 2. The answer arrived at becomes the mean daily temperature. The last one is the mean annual temperature. Now, the word mean simply means average, and it is calculated by summing up the totals of monthly temperature from January to December and then dividing it by 12. The answer arrived at will equally become the mean annual temperature. Now, it is important we note that a line joining places having the same mean annual temperature is called isotherm. Now, the next weather element we shall consider is wind. We will begin by looking at what wind is. Wind is simply defined as air in motion. It has direction and it has speed. Wind direction is measured with a wind vane, and wind speed is measured with an anemometer. We will look at how wind direction can be measured. Now, a wind vane is made up of a metal vertical shaft on which are attached the 4 cardinal points: north, east, south, and west. Attached to this metal shaft is an arrow that points to the direction of wind. The arrow points to the direction of wind as it's blown, and it is recorded. The next one we shall consider is wind speed. Wind speed is measured with an instrument called an anemometer. An anemometer also consists of 3 or 4 metal cups fixed to a metal stand. The stronger the wind, the faster the cups will rotate, and the number of rotation is recorded on a meter to give the wind speed in kilometers per hour. Now, in our next class, by God's grace, we shall look at the 2 remaining weather elements, and these elements are humidity and sunshine. Until then, stay safe. Thank you.